There is a moment, a single, sacred, unrepeatable moment, when something shifts inside you. It is not loud. It does not arrive with fanfare or thunder. It comes quietly, like the first breath of morning light, pressing itself gently through a window you forgot to close. It comes as a whisper, then a knowing, then an unshakable certainty that rises from somewhere deeper than thought, deeper than memory, deeper than every wound you have ever carried in silence. And in that moment, you understand something that changes everything. You understand that you are not here to struggle. You are not here to beg. You are not here to scrape and scratch and fight for scraps at the edge of a table that was always, always meant to be yours, in full. You are here to receive. You are here to overflow. You are here, beloved, to win. Florence Scovel Shinn knew this. She knew it in the marrow of her bones, in the quiet hours of New York City nights when the world was still and her pen moved like a river finding its inevitable course to the sea. She knew it when she wrote, when she taught, when she stood before rooms full of hungry, hopeful, desperate human beings, and told them the truth that the world had spent lifetimes trying to hide from them. The truth is simple. The truth is ancient. The truth is this life is not a battle. Life is a game. And a game, unlike a battle, can be won. A game has rules. A game has moves. A game has a strategy. And when you learn the rules of this particular game, the game of life, the game of abundance, the game of divine supply and infinite possibility, you stop losing. You stop bleeding. You stop standing outside the door of your own destiny, knocking timidly, hoping someone will let you in. You walk through, because you finally understand that the door was never locked. You just believed it was. Let us begin there. Let us begin with the belief, because everything, absolutely everything, begins with what you believe, not what you say you believe when someone is watching, not what you profess on Sunday mornings or write in journals you keep on a shelf. What you actually believe, in the silent territory of your own mind, in the language you use when you talk to yourself in the dark, that interior monologue, that constant conversation you have been having with yourself since the moment you were old enough to think that is the architect of your entire reality. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this with a precision that bordered on the prophetic. She wrote that the subconscious mind is like a sensitive photographic plate. It takes the picture that you hold up to it. It does not judge. It does not argue. It does not say, "Are you sure?" It simply receives the image you give it and begins immediately, faithfully, relentlessly, building that image into your physical reality. So the question is not whether the universe is working on your behalf. The question is, what are you asking it to build? Most people spend their entire lives asking the universe for more of what they do not want. Not because they are foolish, not because they are broken, but because no one ever sat them down and said, "Your fear is a prayer. Your worry is an instruction. Your constant rehearsal of everything that could go wrong is a detailed blueprint handed directly to the most powerful creative force in existence, and it builds exactly what you imagine with perfect fidelity and zero hesitation." When you lie awake at 3 a.m. running through every catastrophe, every failure, every unpaid bill and broken dream and door that closed in your face, you are not just worrying, you are manifesting. You are speaking the language of creation, and creation is listening. Creation is always listening. The infinite, unconditional, endlessly generous intelligence that runs through all things like electricity through a wire does not take breaks. It does not sleep. It does not decide some people deserve abundance and others deserve lack. It simply responds to the signal you send, always, without exception, with perfect, terrifying accuracy. This is the first principle of the winning mindset. This is the foundation upon which everything else is built. You must become ruthlessly aware of the signal you are broadcasting. You must become the scientist of your own consciousness, the observer of your own internal weather, because your internal weather creates your external landscape. Florence Scovel Shinn called this the law of the boomerang. What you send out returns to you. Every thought, every word, every feeling charged with emotion goes out into the invisible world and comes back wearing a physical costume. The universe is not punishing you when hard things happen. It is reflecting you. It is showing you, with remarkable clarity and zero cruelty, exactly what you have been holding in the secret chambers of your mind. And the moment you change what you hold there, genuinely, deeply, in the bones and not just on the surface, the reflection changes too. The outer world begins to rearrange itself to match the new inner world you have created. This is not poetry. This is not wishful thinking dressed up in beautiful language. This is the most practical, most reliable, most mathematically precise law in the known universe. As within, so without. As above, so below. As you believe, so it is done unto you. Now here is where it gets extraordinary. Here is where Florence Scovel Shinn diverged from the ordinary conversation about positive thinking and stepped into territory that most people are not yet brave enough to fully inhabit. She did not simply say, "Think good thoughts." She said something far more radical. She said, "Speak the word." She said the spoken word has creative power that the merely thought word does not possess. She said that when you open your mouth and declare a truth, not a wish, not a hope, not a pleading prayer, but an absolute declaration of what is already yours in the invisible realm, you activate a force that moves mountains, dissolves obstacles, opens doors that have been sealed shut for years, and brings your good to you from directions you never could have predicted or planned. She said your word is your wand, and she meant every syllable. Think about what this means for you, right now, in this moment. It means that you have been walking around every single day carrying one of the most powerful instruments in all of creation, your voice, and using it to catalog your limitations, using it to confirm your fears, using it to explain to anyone who will listen why things are hard, why money is tight, why love is complicated, why your health is failing, why the dream is impossible, why it's too late, why you are too much and not enough, and always just slightly out of reach of the life you actually want to live? And every time you open your mouth and speak those words, those faithful, earnest, well-intentioned words that are simply describing your current reality, you are casting a spell. You are enchanting your own future with the limitations of your present. You are taking the photograph of what is and developing it into what will be. The camera is always on. The shutter is always open. The developing room is always working. So what do? You change the picture. You change it not by pretending your current circumstances do not exist. Florence Scovel Shinn was far too sophisticated for that kind of spiritual bypassing. You change it by holding the new picture simultaneously with the old one. And then, this is the crucial part, this is where most people stumble and turn back. You speak the new picture as if it is already real. Not as if you hope it will be real. Not as if you wish it were real. As if it is real, right now, in this moment, already accomplished, already complete, already moving toward you with the unstoppable momentum of a river that has found its ocean. I now draw from the abundance of the spheres my immediate and endless supply. All channels are free, all doors are open. Say it. Not quietly, not apologetically, not with a nervous laugh and a sideways glance. Say it like you mean it. Say it like the universe has ears. Say it because the universe does have ears, and they are tuned specifically to the frequency of your voice, and every word you speak is received and acted upon immediately. Say it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Let us talk about money. Let us step directly into the room where most people get the most uncomfortable, because comfort is not what we are here for, and money is not what most people think it is. Money is not paper. Money is not metal. Money is not even a number on a screen. Money is energy. Money is the physical manifestation of value, of service, of the divine exchange that happens when one soul offers something useful to another soul, and the universe responds by creating a circuit, a flow, a current of reciprocal blessing. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that the reason most people do not have money is not because money is scarce. Money is not scarce. The universe is not poor. God, call it God, call it source, call it infinite intelligence, call it whatever name makes your heart open rather than close, is not operating on a budget. The infinite supply that underlies all physical reality does not run low. It does not have a limit. It does not have a maximum. There is no ceiling on abundance in a universe made of abundance, any more than there is a ceiling on light in a universe made of light. The reason most people do not have money is because they have a deeply embedded, thoroughly rehearsed, constantly reinforced belief that they do not deserve it, or that there is not enough, or that having it makes you greedy, or shallow, or separate from God, or better than others, or worse than others, or morally compromised in some way that their childhood taught them to fear. And so, they push it away with one hand while reaching for it with the other, and they wonder why it never quite arrives, why it always seems to go to someone else, why every time they get a little ahead, something comes along to knock them back. But it is not the universe that is keeping money from you. It is you. It is the invisible wall of your own conflicted belief, your own unexamined story, your own ancient programming, running silently in the background, like a virus in a computer, consuming resources and producing results you never consciously chose. Florence Scovel Shinn had a word for this. She called it the race mind, the collective hypnosis of humanity, the shared belief in lack and limitation that has been passed down through generations like a terrible inheritance, absorbed from parents who absorbed it from their parents, who absorbed it from a world that had not yet remembered its own infinite nature. And she said the only way to break free of the race mind is to actively, deliberately, repeatedly claim a different truth. Not argue with the race mind, not fight it, not resent it, simply replace it. Flood the subconscious with new images, new words, new declarations, until the old groove is worn smooth and a new groove is cut deep. God is my unfailing supply, and large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. This is the bold, courageous, spiritually mature act of agreeing with the abundance that the universe has always intended for you, rather than the scarcity that human consciousness has collectively agreed to believe in. You are not taking anything from anyone. You are not competing. Florence Scovel Shinn was emphatic about this. There is no competition on the spiritual plane. What is yours by divine right cannot be taken by another. What belongs to another cannot be taken by you. The universe has a customized, individually tailored, perfectly designed supply for every soul that breathes. Your abundance does not diminish mine. My abundance does not diminish yours. We are not eating from a single small pie with a fixed number of slices. We are in a restaurant where the kitchen never closes, and the menu is infinite, and the chef is God, and the only thing required to eat is the willingness to place your order and believe that it will come. Place your order. This is what Florence Scovel Shinn meant by the spoken word. Place your order clearly, confidently, completely. Do not hedge. Do not qualify. Do not say, I want more money, but I know it's probably not possible. Or, I'd like abundance, but I don't want to be greedy. Or, I'm trying to manifest prosperity, but I have a lot of debt right now. Every qualification is a cancellation. Every but is an eraser. The universe does not read the first half of your sentence. It reads the charge, the emotion, the dominant vibration. And if your dominant vibration is doubt, doubt is what it manufactures in your physical reality. So you must make your declaration clean, pure, unqualified. All that is mine by divine right is now released and reaches me in great avalanches of abundance, under grace, in miraculous ways. All of it, the whole avalanche, right now. Under grace meaning effortlessly, meaning joyfully, meaning without harm to anyone, meaning through channels so unexpected and delightful that when they appear, you will laugh with wonder, because the universe's creativity always exceeds human imagination. In miraculous ways, meaning not the ways you planned, not the ways you can logically see from where you are standing, but the ways that are divinely orchestrated, that bring together people and circumstances and timing with a precision no human hand could engineer. And this brings us to the single most important ingredient in the entire recipe of abundance manifestation, the one thing without which all the affirmations in the world are merely interesting sounds with no creative power whatsoever. That ingredient is faith. Not faith as a concept, not faith as a religious obligation. Not faith as the thing you perform on the outside, while fear eats you alive on the inside. Real faith. Living faith. Active faith. The faith that Florence Scovel Shinn described as knowing, in a flash, that there is only God and that all is well. The faith that looks at a situation that appears impossible by every measurable human standard and says, simply, without drama, without performance, I know my good is already mine. I know the way is already prepared. I know what appears to be an obstacle is merely God rearranging the scenery before my blessing arrives. This faith is not passive. It is not the faith of sitting in a chair waiting for the universe to deliver a package. It is the faith of a soldier who walks forward before the battle is won, already certain of victory. It is the faith of a farmer who plants seeds in dry ground, knowing the rain is coming. It is the faith that acts as if, that walks as if, that speaks as if, and in doing so, calls the invisible into the visible, with a force that nothing in the physical world can resist. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the universe works through what she called divine leads, intuitive nudges, sudden impulses, unexpected opportunities. A thought that seems to come from nowhere, a name that appears in your mind, a voice that says, go here, or call this person, or walk through this door. And the winning mindset requires not just the faith to believe that abundance is coming, but the responsiveness to act immediately when these leads appear. Because the universe speaks in whispers before it speaks in shouts. Because opportunity knocks gently before it moves on. Because the divine plan for your life is being broadcast continuously on a frequency that only your intuition can receive, and if you are too busy, too afraid, too locked into your logical mind's insistence that things have to make sense before you act, you will miss the signal. You will walk past the open door because it did not look like the door you were expecting. You will ignore the person who is your greatest blessing because they did not arrive wearing the costume you imagined. You will stay stuck, not because the universe has forgotten you, but because you have forgotten how to listen. So, listen. Quiet the noise of worry and analysis and strategy long enough to hear the still small voice that is always, always speaking to you. Trust the hunch that cannot be explained. Follow the impulse that logic dismisses. Do the unexpected thing that your soul whispers and your fear shouts down. Because your soul has a direct line to the infinite intelligence that knows every path, every possibility, every combination of circumstances that leads from where you are to where you are meant to be, and it is communicating with you, constantly, faithfully, lovingly. It is the most reliable guidance system ever designed. It never malfunctions, it never lies. It never runs out of signal. The only thing that interferes with reception is fear. And the antidote to fear, the only real antidote, is faith, not the absence of fear. Florence Scovel Shinn never promised the absence of fear. She promised something better. She promised that when you choose faith over fear, again and again, in small moments and large ones, in the ordinary Tuesday and the extraordinary crisis, the fear loses its power to stop you. It may still whisper, but it no longer commands. It may still knock at the door of your mind, but you have learned to say, I see you, I hear you, and I choose differently. I choose faith. I choose abundance. I choose the truth that has always been true even when I forgot it. I choose my good. Now, let us speak about the law of giving, because no speech about abundance is complete without it, and because this is the place where so many well-intentioned seekers stumble into a contradiction that quietly sabotages everything else they are building. There is a profound, precise, unavoidable spiritual law that Florence Scovel Shinn returned to again and again in her writing and her teaching, the law that says you cannot receive what you are not willing to give. Or more accurately, the channel through which your abundance flows must be kept open in both directions. You cannot dam the river on one end and expect it to flow freely on the other. You cannot hoard, withhold, grip, clutch, and squeeze your current supply out of fear and expect the universe to demonstrate its generosity to you. Generosity is a frequency. Abundance is a frequency. And you cannot receive a frequency you are not transmitting. This does not mean you must give what you do not have. This is not about sacrifice, or self-depletion, or giving until you bleed to prove your spiritual worthiness. Florence Scovel Shinn was far too practical for that kind of theology. It means you must give from a consciousness of abundance, rather than a consciousness of lack. It means you must cultivate the feeling genuinely, bodily, emotionally, not as a performance that you already have more than enough, that the source of your supply is infinite and inexhaustible, that what you give does not diminish you, but rather opens the channel wider for more to come through. When you give a genuine compliment, you are practicing abundance. When you offer your time, or your skill, or your attention from a place of genuine desire to serve rather than obligation or fear, you are practicing abundance. When you release something money, a possession, a grudge, an old story about why you cannot have what you want, you are practicing abundance. And the universe, which is always watching the frequency of your consciousness rather than the number in your bank account, responds to that practice with an increase that follows its own perfect mathematics. Gratitude is the law of increase, Florence Scovel Shinn wrote. Complaint is the law of decrease. And here is the mechanism behind that statement. Because it is not mystical, it is not arbitrary, it is the cleanest spiritual physics you will ever encounter. Gratitude places your attention on what you have, and where attention goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, more of the same grows. When you are genuinely grateful, not performing gratitude, not listing things in a journal while feeling secretly bitter and afraid, but actually stopping and feeling the wonder of what is already present in your life, you are tuning yourself to the frequency of abundance. You are saying to the universe, this, more of this. I recognize this. I value this. I am awake to this. And the universe, which can only give you more of what you are resonating with, floods the field with more. But complaint, the constant attention to what is lacking, what is wrong, what is not enough, does the opposite. It is not that the universe punishes complainers. It is simply that complaint is the language of lack, and the universe speaks back in the language you are using. Speak abundance, see abundance, feel abundance. And abundance must come, because it has no choice. It is law. Let us speak now about time. Let us speak about the gap that most people cannot survive. The gap between the declaration and the manifestation. The space between the planted seed and the harvest. The silence that stretches between when you speak your word with faith and when the physical world catches up and shows you the proof. This gap is where faith goes to die if you are not careful. This is where doubt creeps in, wearing the costume of reason, saying, "See? Nothing happened. You said your affirmations. You declared your abundance. You trusted the universe. And here you are, still in the same situation, still facing the same bills, still waiting for the door that never opens. And this right here, is the most dangerous moment. Not the moment of setback, not the moment of obvious failure, but this quiet, rational-seeming moment, when the evidence of your physical reality argues louder than your faith, and you are tempted to agree with what you see rather than what you know. Florence Scovel Shinn called this the testing time. She said that between the declaration and the demonstration, There is almost always a period of apparent contradiction, a period when things may even appear to get worse before they get better, when the very circumstances you are trying to change seem to dig in deeper, when every rational sign points away from the good you have claimed. And she said, this is not evidence that the law has failed. This is evidence that the law is working. It is the storm before the calm. It is the darkness before the dawn. It is the pressure that precedes the breakthrough. The ground does not show you the seed sprouting. The seed is working underground, in the dark, in the invisible realm, doing everything it needs to do to burst into the visible world. And if you dig it up to check on it, if you abandon your faith and retreat to your worry and start making contingency plans for failure, you interrupt the process at precisely the moment when it needed you most to trust. Stand firm. Stand still. Stand in the knowing that what you have spoken in faith is already accomplished in the invisible and is moving, with perfect precision and perfect timing, into the visible. I stand steadfast, immovable, giving thanks for my seemingly impossible good to come to pass, for I know with God it is easy of accomplishment, and His time is now. Divine timing. This is the final teaching, the capstone, the truth that holds all the others in place. Divine timing means that your good does not arrive according to your schedule. It arrives according to the schedule of an intelligence that can see everything you cannot see, every player on the board, every path through the maze, every person who needs to be in a certain place, and every circumstance that needs to be arranged before the pieces come together in the way that serves not just you, but everyone involved. And that intelligence, that divine choreographer, is not slow. It is not distracted. It is not disorganized. It is working with a speed and efficiency that would astonish you if you could see it, but you cannot see it, because it is happening in the invisible. The only thing you can see is where you are right now. And where you are right now is not the end of the story. It is barely the beginning. Your winning mindset is not something you manufacture. It is something you remember. It is the return to the truth that was always there, buried under layers of fear and conditioning, and the accumulated weight of every time someone told you that you were not enough, that the world was dangerous, that good things happened to other people, that abundance was for the lucky, or the gifted, or the ruthless, or the born. None of that is true. None of it was ever true. You are not separate from the source of all abundance. You are not excluded from the infinite supply that underlies all physical reality. You are not too old, too young, too broken, too far gone, too ordinary, too peculiar, or too anything. You are a divine being having a human experience, and the divine being you are has access to every resource in the universe, not someday, now. Not when you fix yourself or prove yourself or earn yourself into worthiness. Now, exactly as you are, exactly where you are. Right now, in this moment, in this breath, with this beating heart, and this beautiful, imperfect, magnificent life, activate the winning mindset by deciding, not hoping, not wishing, but deciding, the way you decide which direction to drive, the way you decide what to eat, the way you decide with the ordinary authority of a human being exercising their sovereign will, that abundance is yours, that it is already moving toward you, that every channel is open and every door is free and every force in the invisible realm is conspiring right now, in this moment, to bring you everything that is yours by divine right. Decide it, speak it, live from it, act from it, give from it, receive from it, and when the doubt comes, and it will come, because you are human, and this is how the journey works, do not condemn yourself for doubting. Simply return. Return to the truth. Return to the word. Return to the knowing. Pick up your declaration like a warrior picks up their sword and say it again. Louder than before. With more conviction than before. Because every time you return, your faith is stronger. Your channel is wider. Your connection to the infinite supply is deeper and more reliable and more unshakable than it has ever been. Florence Scovel Shinn wrote that The game of life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy. So let your thoughts be the thoughts of someone who has already won. Let your deeds be the deeds of someone already living in abundance. Let your words be the words of someone already overflowing. Not because you are pretending. Not because you are in denial about your current circumstances. But because you are choosing, with every thought and deed and word, to call forth the reality that already exists in the invisible realm and invite it, boldly and without apology, into the visible world. You are the bridge between what is and what is meant to be. You are the channel through which the infinite seeks to express itself in the finite. You are the point where heaven meets earth and possibility becomes physical. And you have always had the power to activate that bridge. You simply needed to remember. Remember now. Remember that you are an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to you by divine right. Remember that your supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate. Remember that unexpected doors fly open, and unexpected channels are free, and the avalanches of abundance that have been building in the invisible realm are even now beginning to cascade into your visible life, under grace, in perfect ways. Remember that there is no competition for your good, no force powerful enough to withhold what is divinely yours, no circumstance so fixed that the word spoken in faith cannot dissolve it, no door so permanently sealed that the infinite intelligence cannot swing it open in a single moment. Remember that you are not alone in this. You were never alone. Every step of this journey, in every moment of doubt, and every moment of clarity, in every hard season, and every season of harvest you have been held, you have been guided. You have been provided for by a love so vast, and so unconditional, and so precisely tailored to your particular soul that if you could see it fully, even for a single second, you would never be afraid again. So activate your winning mindset. Not tomorrow, not when things get better, not when you feel ready, because the feeling of readiness is itself a gift that faith gives you, not a prerequisite for faith. Activate it now. Open your mouth and speak the truth of your abundance into the air around you. Speak it in your home, speak it in your car, speak it in the quiet of your own mind when no one else can hear. Speak it with the authority of someone who has remembered who they are and what they are made of, and what the universe has always intended for them. Speak it, because your word is your wand, and your wand is in your hand, and the magic has always been real, and the time is always now. I now draw from the abundance of the spheres my immediate and endless supply. All channels are free, all doors are open. I am an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to me by divine right. Goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Unexpected doors fly open, unexpected channels are free, and endless avalanches of abundance are poured out upon me, under grace, in perfect ways. I am on the royal road of success, happiness, and abundance, and all the traffic goes my way. My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate, and comes to me under grace in perfect ways. I give thanks for my whirlwind success. I give thanks for the millions which are mine by divine right, now pouring in and piling up under grace in perfect ways. I am fearless in letting money go out, knowing that God is my immediate and endless supply. The law of God is the law of increase, and I give thanks for increase under grace in perfect ways. I am now on the royal road, and my good overtakes me in a surprising way. This is the day of my amazing good fortune, and nothing can stop the divine plan of my life from coming to pass now, and now, and now. This is your word. This is your wand. This is your winning mindset. This is your abundance. Activate it, live it, receive it. It is already yours.